Welcome to Inferior Gaming, where nerfing bosses is fine with me. I'm Alan.
I'm Caitlin.
And what you been playing?
I've been playing Pokemon Pokopia. I need all the Pokemon.
Have you been playing that?
It's detrimental to my life. Yes, on the 4th area now, I can turn into Dragonite and fly around, and it's so fucking cute. Oh my god! And
is that the? I thought that you turned into a human because you're like the Ditto guy, right? So like you're supposed to turn into other Pokemon to do stuff.
So you're a Ditto, and yes, you do normally make yourself look like your trainer. But in certain areas, you can learn to make yourself look like other Pokemon in order to unlock abilities. The first one that you get is Lapras, so that you can swim.
Okay.
And
that makes sense.
And then there's, I forget his name, a roly-poly rock guy.
Yeah.
I never really used that one, but it's there. And now Dragonite for flying.
Okay. So this is like you unlock the airship in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And so it's bad. You said it's bad for your life, and you hate it.
I love every minute of it. It's so cute. It is incredibly overwhelming because there's so much. But, I mean, you don't have to do so much, you know? Like, the Pokemon are happy being left in their patch of grass. You don't have to build a Victorian village for them. I am thinking about doing that. You don't have to.
Is there, like, progression in the game or, like, an end state or anything like that? Or is it just, like, make your own fun?
There's progression in each area that you go to raise it to raise, like, the level and make the Pokemon happier and that sort of thing. And you're trying to figure out, or at least you have you kind of want to know what happened to the humans and if they'll ever come back.
It's so weird. So there's like this post-apocalyptic, like Nier Automata meets Pokemon situation happening.
Because it seems like the Pokemon were stored in a computer, like similarly to a Pokeball, but like all of them were in one thing, maybe. It's really giving Horizon Zero Dawn. It's
interesting.
Which is so hilarious to me.
So something happened and they pop out and they're like, what happened? And Ditto is like, I'm a human. Everybody chill out. It's okay. Like, we'll be okay.
I mean, a lot of the time when you make a new environment and a Pokemon appears, they're like, wait, are you a human? And you're like, well, you don't really say anything. And they're like, oh, you're a Ditto. Okay. And they're fine with that. And then sometimes they're like, where are the humans? That's weird.
I'm glad that they're not gaslighting all of the Pokemon. No. That's actually something I was worried about. Okay.
No, we're not trying to tell them there's this one human left in the whole world, so now you all belong to me.
Right.
No. We're all working together to make a nice world where the humans will want to come back. I don't want that. I don't think they will have humans appear in the actual game. But I also don't want all the humans to be dead. Because both of those things would change the game a lot, you know?
Yeah. It's funny to me that you played like Metaphor, which is like explicitly about Utopia, and now you have this other game that has kind of Utopia in the name and is kind of thinking about post-apocalypse, Utopia, like what. That's funny to me.
The Japanese, man, I guess it's on their minds.
Yeah, they care about it.
Yeah.
It's very like Jeremy Bentham philosophy to be like, you get into an area and then you reduce unhappiness to a certain level and then you move on, and that is civilization, baby. That is what we do. We're just going out there and making people happy.
Yep. It's weird. I have also played a little bit of Ace Attorney.
Okay. You ever played those before?
I have not. So I wanted to give them a go, and I bought the trilogy, the first trilogy, when it was on sale a bit ago, probably during the Steam Winter Sale. And so I've been playing it on my sister's Steam Deck before I go to bed.
Interesting. How's the Steam Deck play for you?
Oh, it's fine.
Is it?
It the bad thing is I've been playing on my Switch so much that the confirm and cancel buttons are swapped. They're opposite on those two things. So
Dude, Nintendo is so bad about that. It makes
me
crazy whenever I pick up a Nintendo controller.
So I definitely meant to cancel out of something last night, but instead I confirmed it. So and by doing that, I cut a scene short. So then I just closed it without saving.
Okay, go back.
Yeah. So that's where I am. I got to redo a bunch next time I sign in.
Oh, no.
I haven't gotten very far because I don't actually like playing games in bed. I don't like doing anything in bed other than sleeping, which, I don't like reading or watching TV or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm mostly doing it this way to stop myself from scrolling on my phone. So, yeah, Ace Attorney, I'm only on the second case, and I just had to go back a bunch in it. So, but I was not expecting that person to die.
Oh yeah, those games are wild. It's like a soap opera. It's pretty crazy. Weird part of the Capcom universe.
Yeah, I didn't realize they were Capcom until I was Googling something about the game or about the main character, and it was and he was in Capcom versus Marvel.
Yeah.
What was his special move? Objection?
Yes. I love him in the fighting games. He will hit you with paperwork and stuff. It's
of course. Anyways, what about you?
What did I do? I beat Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is a beat 'em up game that came out a while ago. So I finally beat the final boss, and that was satisfying. He's way harder than he should be, but it also doesn't make any sense because you beat other characters who are way more powerful in the comic books, but whatever. There's kind of a story, but not really, which is perfect. You don't want, for a beat 'em up, you don't want a heavy story. So that was fun. I'm trying to remember because I beat him with someone really unlikely. Oh God, now I can't remember who I did it with. Because it was Black Panther, of course. I just glommed onto Black Panther in that game so hard. He's just so good all around. He's just great. And I think Black Panther is a little bit lame as a Marvel hero. He just has tiny fingernails. That's his weapon. I'm like, come on. But the other guy that I used, Wolverine, of course. That's what did it. I threw Wolverine in there, and I hardly ever used Wolverine for the whole game because you have to get really up close to do anything with Wolverine, and he's pretty slow as opposed to Black Panther, who's just flip all over the place. He can get in and get out really fast, which is what you want with a close quarters character, and Wolverine was not doing that. But his power, of course, is that he heals constantly. And so this is what got me through the final boss, is that his health is constantly regenerating, and it compensated for how crappy I am at video games. And so Wolverine pulled me across the finish line. So that was very satisfying to finally beat that game.
So you only like the fingernail characters?
Yeah, I guess, right? That is not who I played for most of the game, but it is who I had to use to get through the final area. So he invades the universe with these insect people, and then at the very end of the game, you've allied your characters with Galactus, who is usually a villain, and he's so big he can eat planets literally, and he takes the final boss, who's named Annihilus and looks like a giant bug. And then he's like, now you are the bug. And he splats him between his hands. And I was like, that's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
That's pretty stupid. Big fan of stupid endings. That's why I love comic books. I was like, why didn't you just do that, dude? Why? This was so hard for me. Why didn't you just splat him?
I was under the impression
Wolverine.
that comic books didn't have endings, stupid or otherwise.
Yeah, you're right. It's just never ending. It's it kind of ends and then it's set up for the next thing.
That's why I don't like them. Or why I've never, I've tried really hard. There were some stories that I liked, but I can never get into them because they're never going anywhere.
Yeah. The setup is always cooler then however it ends.
Yeah.
And it just rolls into a new setup. And it's just a forever like, oh my God, this setup is so awesome. That's what comic book arcs really are. In Marvel, there's a really good series called What If?
Oh, yeah.
That does have discrete stories. And this video game was framed as a what if story. It's exactly the same. Like the Watcher begins and ends the story and kind of says like, in another universe,
Gotcha.
What if this happened? So I don't know why they felt the need to frame it that way, but whatever. Like I really, really enjoyed it. Like there's so many little things in the game that like call back to the Marvel fighting games and other Marvel beat 'em ups, and also like just beat 'em ups in general. Like if you're a fan of beat 'em ups, you'd be like, oh, that super move is from this game and things like that. So
that's always fun.
Yeah, it's just made with love, it feels like, and that was great. What else did I play? Oh, I played, more Persona.
Good.
Yep. I think I found what you were talking about. I was like, last time that we talked, I was like, oh, I'm doing this painter guy and I have to go into his palace.
And I mentioned the door or whatever.
Right,
yeah.
The locked thing. And I was like, yeah, I did that. I triggered the alarm. But that's not the thing I think that you were thinking about. That I got to a door and it was like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
We have to go back out and do something else. And I was like, oh, this is what Caitlin was really talking about. So I got to that point and did some more like hanging out with people and talking and getting closer to the guy that you live with who's like runs a coffee shop. He is irascible but cute. I like that character.
I really hated him at first when I was playing, but by the
Yeah.
time you get to the end of his social link, I was like, oh my God, we're a little family now.
Yeah, he's like really gruff. He's
Yeah.
like, I can't love people. I can't care. You can tell he has like a tender heart. Like, why would he take a kid in, unless he cares about people? So I like that you slowly peel back the hard layers of like, I don't give a fuck about other people. Like, that's not true. So that's good. Yeah. And hanging out with the cat who's not a cat. And that's all good.
Yep.
Persona's great. And I just did this last night. I started New Game Plus. So like I went further into Expedition 33. There's that
The DLC
area
stuff?
with, not DLC, but like it's not like you have to pay for it.
Oh,
like,
right.
it's
Okay. The
just
new stuff.
extra stuff. So I went to the end of that and it was funny. I didn't beat it, but I was like, okay, I see what's going on. And then I was like, I'm going to start New Game Plus and I'm going to try and push through that game because I would like to talk about it on the show. So I started New Game Plus with the hopes that, like I have all the Pictos and all that stuff carries over. And I know that the difficulty increases on New Game Plus, but I'm hoping that with knowledge and with all of that stuff unlocked, I would be able to push through it a lot faster. So, but I just started New Game Plus and then like, you're on the balcony at the beginning of the game and I just stopped right there.
Oh, okay.
So I did nothing, basically. I just did New Game Plus, which erased my old game. So now I'm like committed. Like this has to happen. I can't screw around anymore, just flying around the world.
A shame.
Yeah. I think that's it. Hadn't done very much. Oh, no, that's not true. I also played more of that Guardians of the Galaxy game. Me and my daughter kind of playing together, like talking about like, make this choice, make that choice, go over here, go over there. Mostly her yelling at me of like, Jesus Christ, like, do you not see that you're getting hit? Like, I know, I'm terrible.
Well, I could never play with kids. The only playing with kids I do is when I have friends over to play Mario Kart, and like one of my friends is a teenager, so we play with her quite a bit. And yeah, she's better than me. She's better than most of us.
Yeah, and then she spanks you. Yeah.
But also her mom is real good, like the person I'm actually friends with. So it's usually one of those two people who are kicking her ass. And I'm like, look, I'm staying on the course. That's all that matters.
Yeah. It was interesting. It's like we pushed through in the stories through basically like the second chapter is what it seemed like to me. There's all these Mass Effect style choices, like dialogue things that you can do constantly. Or you can just not let them, you can just say nothing. So like I think I made like a terrible choice. and it went really, really badly. It makes me curious, like if I had made the other choice, what would have happened. I guess I could just look it up. But it was like basically the way that I'm playing the characters as if, I mean, you're Star-Lord. That's who you're playing. And so I just play him like the dumbest person in the world.
Right. Makes sense.
So, yeah, that's what's fun about those characters, I think, is that they're just like regular people who happen to be like really, really strong. And they get into incredible, crazy, stupid situations.
Right.
And so like you had to, you're like deeply in debt. That's the thing about the game. You like, the police, the galactic police are like, we're going to impound your ship and you have this fine that you have to pay. And so that's the motivation for the plot. So we had to go out and make a bunch of money. And their idea was there's this lady who buys monsters and will capture a monster and sell her the monster. So we try to capture the monster. We fail to do it because it's just too strong and it kills us. So like we retreat. And then we're like, well, we still need the money. So how about instead of selling her a monster, we sell her one of the teammates and then run away with the money? That won't cause a problem. And so you have to pick which teammate you're going to sell as a monster.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
So I picked Rocket Raccoon.
Of course.
And she was like, this is not a monster. And he was like, look into my eyes. I am a murderer. And she's like, you are a little bit scary, I'll admit, but you are not scary to me. And it makes me wonder, like, everybody was like, you should pick Groot, the tree monster guy. And I was like, no, that sounds smart. So I'm going to pick Rocket because that sounds stupid. And it really caused us like a huge problem. And I think it probably would have pretty much gone the same way, but it makes me wonder what would have happened if I picked Groot.
Interesting.
So, there are choices in that game. There are branching narrative things, and
it sounds like a cool game. I hate Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
Hate's a strong word. I don't care about them at all.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the comics. I've never liked the comic book characters, but I do like the Marvel Cinematic Universe version of them. I think James Gunn like really understands something about those more working class characters,
right?
And how heroism operates there, and like what I like about those characters, and I guess specifically Star-Lord, is that he makes heroism into being a vulnerable man. That is like what is heroic. Like when Star-Lord is being heroic, it's because he stops being a jackass and is like real with people and shows the emotion, and like the same thing for Rocket Raccoon and stuff like that. So there's something about like soft masculinity in those three movies being heroic that is like really interesting and good to me, especially like if you compare it to the Captain America movies in that universe.
Those are fair points. I've never really thought of it that way before. For one thing, I have a difficulty separating the actor from the character.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. Yeah. Yeah, he's a jerk.
But more than that, I just sort of think of, I really hated how they shoehorned, what's her face? Oh, I don't remember anybody's name. The girl into being his romantic interest. Like, it felt stupid.
Oh, Gamora?
Yeah. That felt completely unearned and terrible. And they never really did much with her, I felt. I guess they did with her sister. But that felt more like it was about the sister.
Yeah, I love their relationship.
Yeah, I would want a
sisters.
movie about them. I guess this is just me wanting it to be more about the women.
Yeah. I agree. I think the romance with Gamora is undercooked. I do like how they paid it off. I mean, I don't want to make this MCU stuff. But
I know we're kind of going on about this, but
yeah, I like how they paid it off in the Thanos story. His relationship with Gamora. even though it's like a very typical like masculine cliche of like my girlfriend, revenge, like
Yeah.
I like that Star-Lord makes really bad choices and that he's not a good person. Like I like that about that character in the
Okay.
MCU.
See, I hate that about him.
Because it gives him like a place to go as a hero. You know what I mean? Like
Sure,
so
but
many of the other masculine heroes are like good guys to begin with. And then it's just like, okay, so where are we going? Like, you know what I mean?
that's very fair. And we are talking about this way too much. But also
Yeah.
I feel like he never gets there. I feel like there's never
He doesn't. No.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Before we were recording, we were talking about Firefly, and I think Mal is a very similar-ish character.
Super similar.
But way better written. And he actually gets there. And the women on that show are way better written.
100%.
You know, and it's
I think
a similar setup. So I just think he was trying to do something that I have liked, like James Gunn, was trying to do something that I have very much liked previously, but he didn't do it as well as other things I have seen.
Yeah. I think and we'll stop talking about this, but I think his version of Superman is like a way better, like he nailed it with that, where it is that whole thing of like being heroic is being a soft, vulnerable, emotional man is like perfect in that Superman movie. Like he really, really did it. And that character is like not problematic in all the ways that Star-Lord is.
The problem with the Superman movie is that for me anyways, is that it came out long past where I was giving a single shit about superhero movies.
Yeah.
But yes, we're stopping here. We're moving on to our main topic.
We're not going to talk about it. Sorry. I could talk about superheroes forever, especially Marvel. But yeah,
and I could shoot you down forever.
It was fun to play with my daughter, in the corner being like, what the fuck, Dad? Like, what are you doing? So I enjoy that.
This week's topic, do it.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about women in games, just generally, whether that be on the creator side or in-universe women or whatever. And yeah, so that was just a thing that occurred to me. I was watching various YouTube videos as I do, and it just kind of kept coming up. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this would be a good thing to talk about on the show, I think.
Before we hit record, Alan did specifically say that he wanted to prove he was a better feminist than me.
I mean, that's obvious, like, because this was my idea and not yours.
Yeah, of course. I don't actually necessarily disagree with this because you've probably done more reading, and I don't want to use the word research. It has such weird connotations these days, but for lack of a better, term, research into it than I have. While I just...
About women in video games?
No, about feminism.
Oh, about feminism. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I do read a lot of academic feminism.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have over the years read a lot of academic feminism, mostly as it relates to literature and not like formal gender studies as such, although I've read, some Judith Butler and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
But
I need to do more of it. Like, I don't know, need is a strange word, but especially from Black women, I personally feel like that is a lack that I have in my life.
Mm-hmm. Bell Hooks is great.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, yeah.
As a white woman, I don't know if I've made that clear on this podcast.
Yeah, they're like, what? You're white?
I don't know. We never say it, but I think it's
true.
My name is Caitlin, Like, come on.
From Canada.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think there's a lot of great female characters out there, but there's also, like, unfortunately, just so much weird controversy. And I feel like somehow the discourse is worse. And instead of like progress, it's like anti-progress.
Absolutely.
Seems to happen over time. Yeah.
Yeah, like we tried to have what was it? The Gamergate thing. Like that was terrible. And it seems like the reaction to that was men just deciding that women were attacking them and need to be put down even more.
all the time. Yeah, instead of like a purge or like a conversation that was just like, oh wow, we didn't realize what a problem this is. We came together not at all and divided even more. Like it's crazy.
I've talked about how I don't like to play dad games because there are no mom games.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, The Witcher 3 specifically aside from that. But that was before I kind of did some looking into the dad game thing. But like The Last of Us and the God of War, the modern God of War games, and et cetera, et cetera.
And it's like a shorthand for masculine vulnerability, kind of like what I was talking about. But I think it's a really like toxic, bad version of masculine vulnerability.
And it's also just a showcase of the industry, right? Because all these people who grew up playing and making games are now older and dads and having kids and want to write their stories, stories for them. And that makes total sense. But it just means that there were no women. There are no women in the same roles.
Yeah.
In the developer side of things.
And there always were women in video games on the creator side. They just, for whatever reason, over time, just minimized the creative input that they had over the years.
Yes.
Along with the rest of the culture.
That when I say there are no women, I don't mean literally there are zero women. I just mean their stories aren't being told.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'll start off. So one that I thought of right away for this that I think is super interesting and is part of the reason why I thought of this at all. I was watching a video by a YouTube creator she does like video essays and stuff about the Souls games and like Dark Souls and Elden Ring and things like that. And her name is Cupcake Souls.
Amazing.
It's great.
Amazing. Yeah, love it.
She is like, she seems like a young woman to me. I don't know anything about her, but she seems like a young woman who is either in college or just got out of college. And maybe she has a degree in feminist studies because she's very like citation-y about like this academic says this and this academic says that. Like she just got out of that culture kind of a thing or is still in it. Anyway, she analyzes the Souls games through feminism theory. Academic feminism. And it just got me thinking about all of these Souls characters. And my favorite from Elden Ring is Ranni the Witch, who's just a great, great character. So Ranni is like a character that you're guaranteed to meet once in the game. She's one of the first characters that you meet no matter what. And so you start the game and you beat a boss and then you faint or whatever. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like you die. You like fall off a cliff.
You lose. I gotcha.
Yeah. And then you wake up and there's like a woman's voice talking and you see the hooves of an animal and it seems like she's talking to the animal and then you fully wake up and there's nobody there and you go through the tutorial dungeon that teaches you how to do everything in the game and then you come out into the world and you rest at your first they're not bonfires but it's like a bonfire and the campsites are like where you save the game and level up and all that stuff, kind of like Expedition 33 has the flags.
Right, yeah.
These are called Site of Grace.
I know about the bonfires.
You stay at the Site of Grace, and when you stay at that one at nighttime, then it launches into a cutscene where this witch who's dressed all in blue appears, and she says to you, like, I have this...
This way, Tarnished. May I have a word? A pleasure to meet thee, Tarnished. I am the witch Renna. I'd heard tell of a Tarnished hurtling about atop a spectral steed, and upon looking into the matter, the talk, I surmise, is of thee. Thou art possessed of the power, no? To call forth a spectral steed named Torrent. As I had hoped, I was entrusted this for thee by Torrent's former master. To 'Tis a bell for calling forth spirits. Summon them with it. From ash and return to the Erdtree, the spirits will obey thine command but briefly, as they recall battles past. Now it is thine, to do with as thou wishest. Forgive mine intrusion, Tarnished. I doubt we shall again meet. But all the same, learn well the lands between. How long will it be, I wonder, before the Tarnished tire of obeisance to the two fingers?
And that is the only time that you could meet Ronnie the Witch. Like, you'll definitely meet her that one time, and then you might not ever see her again for the rest of the game, which I love about her, because she's like a secret in the game, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's so fascinating.
I have a question about, well, Elden Ring in particular, and I guess the Dark Souls games. Can you, is there like character creator? Can you choose to be a girl in that game? Or do you have to be a dude?
Yes. No. And it's, no. You can completely customize your character in all of the Souls games.
Great.
And
cool.
you can be whatever. And you can also, in a lot of those games, a lot of people play as trans.
Oh, that's
because
fun.
Most of the games have an item that allows you to, it's like a ring, and when you put it on, it changes your gender. But a lot of the gear is not gendered in any of those games. And so the models are slightly different depending on your body shape, but they don't restrict you from, like, you can't wear this armor because you're a girl. Like,
right.
That's not a thing in any of those games. And part of the point of those games is that anybody can do anything. Gender matters a lot in those games, though. I don't want to minimize that, but, like, I don't know how to say what I'm saying. Like, the whole point is that powerful people have said there are big divisions in society between different kinds of people,
right? Because
we say so. And then the system breaks down, and you playing as, like, you're always like a nobody, and your success kind of proves the lie to the system and the powerful people. So it's all bullshit that, like, women can only be like this and men can only be like the games are very anti-establishment in how they're constructed.
That is not the reputation they have.
Yeah, well, the guys who play the games, have created a toxic community around it. Because I think there is something there for the male fantasy and for the way that men are brought
100%.
up, right?
Yeah. The way you just described that, going from nothing to beating the biggest boss in the game.
To being God. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. That's the masculine fantasy. But it also, you can be a woman and do the whole thing. And the game is like, yeah, of course, because everybody's equal. And that just kind of whoosh, just flies over their head. That's what I love about Ronnie. In Elden Ring, she sets herself up as, well, for one thing, she's like a total mystery. She's off to the side. She's very hard to find. But when you do find her, she's like the little princess in the tower, and the dragon is like guarding her tower. The damsel in distress is how she frames herself. And everything about her is like very constructed to manipulate your perceptions of her and get the wrong idea about who she is and what she wants. In the backstory to the world, the very first thing that you find out when you boot up the game, the Elden Ring, which is this like sacred geometry thing that controls the universe, the god of the world, who is a woman named Marika, she took out death from it because she's like, the world is perfect. Like, I've perfected it. And so I don't want it to change. And so she takes the rune of death out. And then Ronnie, who is her daughter, so she is the daughter of God, and she's kind of like her heir, steals the rune of death and she breaks it in half, and she does this coup for power. So there's the eldest son of God, and there's her, and they're like the two kind of competitors for the throne. They're the next ones up to be God, basically. And she has this group of assassins who are all women, and she tells them, like, take this rune of death and take it to my brother, and you're gonna, like, carve it into his back with your knives, and it's gonna kill him. And then while they're doing that simultaneously, she has her servants carve the other half of the rune into her back at the same time. And what this does is it kills her body, but not her soul, because only half of the rune of death is being used. And it does the opposite to her brother. It kills his soul, but not his body. And then this is the big problem of the game, is that, like, the Son of God has died. Maybe you've heard about this kind of story.
I've heard
Caitlin.
about. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was like,
The
I've
Son
heard
of God
nothing
has
of this,
died.
and I'm so lost. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
I don't know where
The
we
Son of
are.
God-
You've brought me. So you've basically handcuffed me to a chair, and are like, we're going to talk about Elden Ring.
Sorry. The Son of God has died, but he keeps coming back. He's resurrected. And
I see.
and it's a big problem, and we might have to kill God, Caitlin. I don't know if you've ever heard of this kind of problem.
From the Japanese? No.
Yeah, like what? Yeah, so he has a body that won't die. It's because nature is kind of broken, and Ronnie has killed her feminine body so that she is a disembodied soul, so that she can get out of the requirements of what it takes to become God, which is tied to being a female person in the world. And she wants to utterly break the system of the universe and completely remake all of the rules about, like, because there's this entire, like, you have to do all this shit to become God. And once you do all that, you're kind of like, it's like, oh, we want equality for women, so we want them to become CEOs of corporations. Well, that means you have to become a corporate person, right? You have to become a CEO. You have to fit into this structure that already exists, which was built for men. And you know what I'm saying? And, like, become this thing. And, oh, you happen to be a woman, and isn't that empowerment? Ronnie's like, no, we're going to break the system, and we're making something new. This is, like, we're not doing this anymore. And so her entire story, if you choose to engage with it, breaks time itself and the universe. And, like, at the end of it, she's like, we're going to destroy the tree and destroy the light, and we're going to have an age of the stars and an age of the moon and all of the, like, new possibilities and stuff. It's just fascinating, the journey that they go on, where they put you in this world where they're like, oh, a woman is God, a woman is in charge. Like, isn't this female empowerment? And you meet these women over and over in this game who are trapped in systems of control that seem to empower them, but actually take away all of their agency. And Ronnie is the only one in the game who is interested in breaking the system and successfully does it, like, if you ally with her.
Right.
So it's, I don't know, it's like self-consciously feminist, I guess is what I'm saying, and is kind of like the secret, quote unquote, ending. And what a lot of the players, even the dude bros, take as like the ending, like the good ending, is the Ronnie ending.
Yeah, that's nice of them.
It's just a better story, I think, it's like really compelling when you get to the end of the game.
So I tried to choose different girls or women, whatever, than I have talked about previously. Because I think we all know that I love Aerith and Yuna, and
I also did not, for that reason.
Yeah.
The same.
And I'm sure I've talked about other women that I like. Those are just the only two that are occurring to me right now. So I did want to talk about Hilda from the game I just played, Fire Emblem Three Houses. Hilda is the daughter of a noble in the Leicester Alliance. So that's the country that doesn't have a singular king or emperor. It's the one that is like a council of nobles. So she's more or less a princess, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you first start getting her like story scenes, like with you and with her classmates and friends and stuff, it becomes very clear that she is determined not to do any work ever. She will very nicely manipulate people into doing jobs for her. And whenever you just talk to her around the school, she'll be like, "Oh, we're going to that fight. You're not going to need me, right?"
Nice. Queen behavior.
Yeah. And then, but obviously you always put her in the fight because she fucking wrecks on the battlefield.
She's a big old battle axe.
Yeah. Yeah. She is the best.
She looks cool.
Yeah. She's got this pink hair and it's always in pigtails. She's very cute. But the more you play through her like scenes with everyone, the more you see like she's not lazy. She's not stupid. She just really is good at getting other people to do work for her.
Yeah, but she's a princess, yeah.
Yeah, but if she gets to a situation where, like, the person she has tried to get to do the work is doing a bad job, she will do the work for them and be like, "Yo, what is up with you?" And it kind of, like, after the time skip and she grows up a bit, like, she's still like that, but it really translates into her being a good leader, you know? And,
interesting.
And being good at getting people to do the right thing and just like obey commands from a good leader, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I really like that about her. And I love that she's never shown as being lazy, you know, which you could interpret that from her. But like, she will do the job that needs doing. She will just manipulate somebody else to do it. She prefers to manipulate somebody else into doing it.
Yeah. I like what you're saying about good leadership. I think that is good leadership, right?
Yeah.
Like you played the other game metaphor about good leadership. And sometimes, like, I work in a manual labor job, and there's every once in a while a person will join the team who doesn't like to do work, but is clearly like, they just end up going into management, and we're all relieved because it means that they'll probably hire somebody who actually does do the work, and we won't have to pick up this person's slack anymore.
Right.
But that person's talent actually lies in going to people and being like, "I need you to do this job," because they have really good discernment around that kind of thing. And so, like, leadership is not about, like, the kind of bosses, I guess is what I'm saying, in manual labor who get in there and do the job next to you are annoying, because it's like, just give me more people, give me what I need, get out of my way. Like, you don't want a boss who gets in there. You want a boss who, like, moves people around correctly.
Yeah.
And so that's how she sounds to me. Competent, but, like, not interested in working.
Yeah. But still good at it somehow when she does do it. And there's a couple of her story scenes are about her designing jewelry and that sort of thing. And one of the endings you can get for her is that she and another girl in the house, Marianne, who's also really great, actually, they, like, become these big patron of the arts in their country. And their, like, artistic pieces are, you know, very valued. And they just turn their country into this place that really values art. And I really like that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, that's Hilda. A little bit shorter than Ronnie's story, but not everyone's trying to kill God.
Right. Yeah. I wonder if her name is influenced from the Saint Hildegard, who was
probably, honestly,
an exceptional genius in Germany.
That sounds like something these people would do. The developers, the writers would do, yeah.
Yeah. Famous woman in
and
history.
the best thing is, if she gets, like, a critical hit in battle or levels up, like, in the game, the characters sometimes have a happy, you know, a triumphant phrase they can say. And so sometimes Hilda, like, lifts her axe into the air and just goes, "Hilda, Hilda."
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
So
I like
good.
that. That's great. I wanted to talk about one of my favorite composers. We did the music thing. I can't believe I didn't bring up Lena Raine, who is the composer for Celeste, which is a great indie game, and this other indie game you might have heard of called Minecraft.
I've heard
where
of it.
she did.
I don't know what it looks like. but I've heard of it.
It looks like shit, Caitlin.
I mean, one of the most visually unique looking games.
Yeah. Yeah, she did, I think it's called Pig Step, which is like a dubstep song. And my kids love Pig Step. That's how I found out about Lena Raine, and then followed her like music into Celeste and got me to play Celeste. And so I play the Celeste music all the time. It calms my nervous system just playing it. I just feel like, oh, my blood pressure is literally going down listening to this music. I love it so much. That game is a lot of fun. I'm not very good at it, but one of the things that I like in the game is that it allows you to customize the difficulty, and you can just like completely turn everything off. If you just want to like see the whole level, you can just make it so that you can't die and can't fall and all of this stuff. That game's about mental health in a lot of ways.
Celeste? Yeah.
And her music like really supports that in the game, and it also, a big part of the game is like there's this kind of, the main character has this like shadow self who is the antagonist, I would say, of the game. So there's like an internal antagonism, and you'll go through a level and you beat it, and then you have to go back through the level in reverse, which is like a whole new like platforming experience.
Right.
And so the levels are built to be played both ways, but when you're going backwards, you can't just figure it out. You're being chased by this shadow self, and the music for the level is reimagined in this like darker, more upbeat driving kind of tone musically, so that to support that
so
story,
that it feels like more frantic.
Yeah, and it just makes that experience like so much more exciting, I guess.
And don't worry about forgetting things and people in the music episode. We're gonna have to do like 10 more of those to talk about all the music we like. It's insane.
100%. But her work is just like really, really great. I don't know what to call it, like chiptune or like that kind of music, I guess. Like she just has like such an ear for that, and I don't know her training or any of that kind of thing, but she's like, Pig Step is like a dubstep, type of song, but it's with chiptune MIDI style things, and all of Minecraft music kind of sounds like that anyway, because it's aesthetic. And so I don't know if she does other stuff, but her work in those areas was influential to me, and is like one of those creators that, I don't know, I think she does great work.
All right, so in that vein, I will talk about a behind-the-scenes person also, who I think we've talked about before, or at least we've definitely talked about the game before, in this episode even, and that is Jennifer Svedberg-Yen, one of Expedition 33's writers.
Oh yeah, she's great.
And I feel like she is and Expedition 33 in general, is the perfect example of something that you and I have talked about previously, where the best stories that get written are like a shonen anime written by a woman. Because then you kind of get both things. Right? And that is kind of what this feels like with Expedition 33, that this could have been a very male-centric, like still a good story, but like without the well-rounded and important women to the story. I mean, as much as I do like the opening to Expedition 33, it does kind of start off with the dead wife trope, And not, she's not his wife, but it's the same thing.
Oh yeah, it's very much like my girlfriend died,
and now I have motivation.
Yeah, I have nothing. Yeah. Now I can go save the world because I'm motivated. And then it really throws that out at a certain point.
That's what I'm saying. It really just,
which is great,
just chucks that, and it really becomes about something else. And I think that is, like, obviously, I'm not sure which writer came up with what story beats or who wrote what character or anything like that. But I just don't believe it would have had the same depth, especially with the women characters, but even with the men characters, if she wasn't a part of the team. And I appreciate that.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Give me Edward Elric. You know what I mean? Like, disabled character, soft in his heart, kind of a guy as a shonen hero. Like, love Verso so much. Complicated, infuriating, lovable, like, great balance. Good job.
Yeah.
A plus. Couldn't complain.
That's what I mean. Like, even, like him or not, even Verso is a deeper character than Gustav was.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, not that I don't like Gustav. Gustav is great, but he is the hero, and that's what he's got going on,
And he hates it. He hates that he's the guy.
Yeah, that's
so good.
Yeah. So, and just the subtle way that Mael becomes the main character, kind of, is so well done in that story.
And how she was always there.
Yeah.
Because she's right there on the balcony at the beginning. And,
it's so good. I'm glad it was that they told that story the way that they did.
I don't know a ton about her. I've seen various interviews with her.
Yeah, me too. That's pretty much all I know about her also. The interviews.
It seems like she's like an industry outsider, and, she's never written for a game before, and then she comes in and like writes the game story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, took the Game Awards by storm, and on and on. So that's kind of an amazing career story.
I mean, that's one of those things where, like, I have no desire to make less the people who have experience in the industry, the people who've grew up learning from, for lack of a better term, the elders in the industry, and so on and so forth. But there is something to say about getting outside talent to freshen stuff up also.
Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of what I was trying to say with Ronnie, that, like, there is a system in place, and it's kind of the purpose of it is to filter people out who don't fit in, right? But what ends up happening is everything ends up being the same, and you have these datified games, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And you get somebody from the outside, and this is not a datified game. It's not a game about, there is that in there of like the big brotherness, but it's not about that really. It's way more complex. And I think it's more female centric, and like a feminine experience of grief and an experience of like men intruding in on that grief, if you will. And
that's true too.
And the requirements of women, in society, and on and on. I hope for more stories like that, like, hopefully that success would be like, oh, maybe we should also let the women on our team maybe we should tap that resource.
I would love a story with that much emotional depth that also has a happy ending. Just for like my own peace of mind, like I would really enjoy that. Like, I'm not saying get rid of all the sad games. I love a sad game, but I like to have some happy games too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My next one is also like a person behind the scenes again. So I guess we're staying behind the scenes for now.
I kind of matched my list to you. So my next one's kind of a person behind the scene. I don't know, actually. I'm sorry, you go.
Okay. Foreshadowing. So Kim Swift she's still in the industry, but I think she came out of college as like a superstar. A lot of pressure, honestly, because she was the director of Portal when it was a student project.
Interesting.
And then, it got picked up by Valve and then kind of integrated into their entire lore, which was, like Half-Life and Portal are all in the same universe and things like that. Back when Valve made games.
Do they not anymore?
Not really. Kinda. I mean, it feels like they make demos now, like tech demo type stuff.
Yeah. I just assumed that they were working on another Portal, but because why wouldn't they be? But I guess if they're out of it, they're out of it.
Yeah, the joke always is like they can't count to 3. There's no Half-Life 3. There's no Portal 3.
Gotcha.
So like, I don't know. There's always rumors that they'll keep going. But Kim Swift, developed Portal, which Portal has, the main character is a woman, a silent protagonist, but also the main antagonist is a woman in GLaDOS. So there's a lot of like feminine energy happening in Portal, I think. I love those games. They're so smart, Portal and Portal 2. And now that I think about it, like Portal 2 is even about like the invasion of masculinity and like the thwarting of masculinity. On and on and on. Anyway, Kim Swift's career is like interesting to me because she comes out of the gate as like this superstar, big swings. She works on Portal. She works on Half-Life 2. She's like pretty involved in Valve, and then she like moves on. Well, Left 4 Dead is another one that was, I think that's a Valve joint or something. Like wasn't it important? Maybe I'm thinking of a different game where they're like selling hats to their customers. And then they were like, we should make a whole platform. And that was how Steam started. Left 4 Dead is a lot of fun though.
These are all like names of games that I recognize, but I have no idea what the games are.
Never played.
If I see the words Left 4 Dead and 4 is a 4, the number, I'm like, that's not for Caitlin. You know?
Yeah, it really isn't. It's like a zombie apocalypse, and then it's a 4-player co-op experience, but really well balanced. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. Those games are fun. And then she went on she worked behind the scenes in lots of games, but her role as a director like really changed. She would come on she moved from company to company and helped them kind of like with logistics, it feels like to me. So she worked with like Google Stadia, which was the cloud console service that doesn't exist anymore. And then the whole like Xbox Play Anywhere thing was kind of like her thing over at Xbox.
Which also sounds like they've
which
kind of
doesn't
killed
exist
it
anymore. Yeah. So I guess she had this big superstar thing, and then the longer she was in the industry, like the more narrow her role has become, which is kind of an interesting commentary, I think, on like, here's the potential of this person, and maybe women in games more broadly behind the scenes, and how narrow her opportunities became. You take somebody with all of this talent, and I mean, who knows, everybody's individual career, and not to put the fate of women on her back or something, but it just shows to me a grinding down of women over time, because like at Portal, I can't remember, like early 2000s, you look at somebody's career over these 20 years that we were talking about, I feel like has gotten worse in the culture for women, and see where she's at now versus where she started. She worked on like Battlefront 2 for Star Wars, which is a game that I like, but it was disappointing. I feel like EA kind of ruined it, but that's like what they do.
Yeah, I was just going to say, surprise, surprise.
Yeah. And so that's what it feels like to me, is like her career to me like feels like almost like a parable of corporate culture in gaming right now, of like, take somebody with all of this potential to, if we want to talk about it in corporate terms, here is someone with the potential to create value, and then you just diminish their value the longer they're in corporate culture, because that makes everybody comfortable. Is a really weird culture to cultivate.
Okay, my next person, again, I don't know where you would classify this person. Maybe she's technically a creator. Like, I should have had her on our streamers and stuff episode. But once I say her name, I think you'll agree that she is kind of more than that, because it's Felicia Day.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And, she's somebody who really just brought women in gaming to the forefront.
Absolutely.
And I feel like she's almost so big, I guess is the word, that like we don't need to include her on this list. But maybe, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But I think that's kind of, I don't think she is that anymore, because it's not, Geek and Sundry's kind of dead. And obviously the Guild is done and all that sort of thing. But that's how I discovered her, was the Guild, which obviously was telling the stories of the, people playing World of Warcraft and their lives, and how, making these friends through gaming translates to real life, that, they're real friends. And I think that was important stories that needed to be told. And they were good and funny. Like, if you've never watched The Guild, highly recommend. It's hilarious. And if you are a gamer at all, you'll really understand the characters very well.
I think a lot of the structures for online fandom that's monetized owe themselves to Felicia Day. She created the structures that those things exist in, I guess. This is a really poor way to phrase what I'm trying to say.
Like Geek and Sundry was one of the first, sort of, or at least the first one I ever watched that was like a YouTube channel, but a network.
Yeah, professional fandom.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a thing. That isn't associated with a larger corporate structure, not like IGN or GameSpot or something like that, but fan made but professional and about the culture, and that entire model is her thing.
Yeah, and had different shows, so it wasn't just her posting videos. It was it was themed content, as you were.
She's really a producer, and she started out as an actress. She was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, of course.
So she's one of those people in show business who can do it all. I feel like she's super smart, really talented, entrepreneurial. Yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah, I really respect her, and I have, thankfully had the opportunity to meet her at some conventions, and
that's cool.
I got my Guild DVD signed, and I always think she should be in the conversation about women in games.
Yeah. She created a critical Role, didn't she, or whatever?
Yes and no. That's where they got their, they were already playing their home game. So I don't want to say that she put the people together or anything. She's told them,
why don't you just do this in front of people?
Yeah, she was the one who said, let's put this online on Geek and Sundry. Yeah. And she's
still out there doing stuff. Yeah.
One of the people on Critical Role, Marisha Ray, was the... Oh, what was the name? The content person on Geek and Sundry. She was the ideas person for a while there until Geek and Sundry was sold and Critical Role left and made their own channel. And then she just recognizes talent is what I'm saying, I guess.
Yeah, it's good for her. She sold her thing and that's that's what
she sold the company, and then the company she sold it to was sold. So then she could just had less and less creative control. So she was like, "Okay, I'm out. Goodbye."
Yeah. Of course.
So that makes.
That's unfortunate, but
Yeah, but I think she did what she wanted to do.
Being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and got a good amount of money out of it, which it sucks, but I'm glad she got out when she did.
Okay, so mine now I feel like I'm going to have to defend myself.
100% you are, because I disagree. But
yeah. So now it's time to fight, Caitlin.
Okay.
So I'm going back into the games. I'm picking another witch. I love my witches. So Morrigan, I said her name weird, but I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it. The Witch of the Wilds in the Dragon Age franchise, I guess. Mostly the first game. I really like her in the first game.
I guess I should say I don't disagree. I do really like her. I just do think that there is something about her whole personhood that is made to appeal to men.
Yeah, you've said this to me before off mic when I talk about Morgan. I don't think that's motivating me. I'm not very attracted to pixelated women. I find the whole thing silly. Her outfit, I'm like, wow, choices.
I do
like
it's how not just the outfit.
Borrows. Yeah. I like how it borrows from traditional shamanic traditions.
Sure.
It's doing something with
I guess,
you're out here in the the bogs and you're creating spells and stuff like that.
The skirt
I just like
is
her,
at any rate, yeah.
I feel like if they weren't cowards, she would be totally topless, but they can't do that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. I would actually respect that more.
Right? Yeah. But no, they can't. I get it, though. They can't do that because then they would really be accused of all kinds of things.
My thing, before you get to do your whole thing.
Go ahead.
About why I think some of why I think she appeals to men, obviously. And in fact, I'm going to talk about somebody like this in the female portrayals that I don't like. I do think that there are a lot of men who enjoy a woman who is just mean to them for no reason.
You might be right. You might be right.
So there's that, but also there's this whole thing where she's like, hey, I want to make a baby with you, but you don't have to be a dad. I'll take it away. Mm-hmm. You won't have to think about it ever again. And I think that kind of appeals to a lot of men too.
Yeah, I'm just thinking over what you said, if that has any part of it.
Sorry, I'm not saying all men, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm also not saying not all men. Jeez.
Good, yeah.
But
I think a man did come up with that idea, though. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Yeah.
And that, like, she doesn't even, like, the idea of staying together isn't even an option. Mm-hmm. You know, it's either let me go and raise this demon baby alone the way I want, or I'll leave now and I won't help you in the final fight.
Yeah.
There's no option to stay together at all. Which, well, maybe the DLC. I've never played that DLC, so I don't know.
I mean, there's women who are on the writing team for Dragon Age Origins, but I mainly think of it as David Gator's joint.
Yeah, and I like David Gator. He does interesting stuff.
Yeah. I think you're right, that it is kind of tapping into a little bit of a male fantasy, but I think it's also supposed to showcase a part of Morgan's character that, to me, is what makes her fascinating. The way in which she has been raised to be an object to be used and not a person. Like, she is rebelling against the legacy of the Witch of the Waste in a certain way. And then she's kind of like, she knows no other way. And so she's re-perpetuating that trauma or abuse in a way that's like fascinating to me. That's what I like about that part of the storyline, rather than the angle that you're talking about, I guess. It's fascinating to me the way that she is doing to her child, possibly, what she doesn't like what was done to her, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's fair. And again, like I said, I do like Morgan. I've talked about this before, like getting her as a, I don't know what it's like playing as a male, but playing as a woman, getting her to like you and be friends with you. And when she tells you that you're like sisters, it's a great feeling. And I really do like her in that game a lot. So
yeah, the more interesting journey that she goes on, I think, because you can make all kinds of choices with her, obviously.
Yeah, that's true.
Is a softening of the character, of her becoming more vulnerable, no matter how, whether that's romantic or not. I think that's what's most fascinating about her, that she starts in this place of like, fuck everyone. Like, I am the strongest thing you'll ever meet. And I'm indomitable and unknowable. And then by the end of the story, you can be close friends, if not lovers. And that's a really rich journey, which is what I like about the character. She's so multifaceted and dynamic that she's like a really just well-written female character who is such a strong presence that she persists through the series. I wish that she was more a part of the series, but she's just one of those characters. There's lots of characters in Origins and not all of them come back. And I think that part of it is just because she's so compelling that she returns again and again.
Or she's hot.
That doesn't hurt, right?
Doesn't hurt, yeah. I do agree with all that. I do wish that there was a different ending for if she likes you, that she stayed, or at least stayed in touch,
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah. So my canon ending in my head, I have this terrible dwarf person.
Right.
He was the worst. But that is their ending. They walk off together into the magic mirror.
Oh, good.
And she's like, yeah, we raised that baby together.
But that's not in the game.
It is.
It is? You can just go away with her?
Yeah. You're like, I abandon all of my responsibilities and like, fuck all of you. Like, are you kidding me? This dark goddess, our evil god baby. Like, let's do it. Let's go.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was his ending.
I don't think I've ever had that option. Well, like, because I don't romance her, but
one of the DLCs. Yeah. You have to
in the Witch Hunt DLC. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not the main game. It's
That's
like
fair. I've never actually played the Witch Hunt DLC. I don't know why. I definitely own it.
I can't remember what those things are called. That it's a big part of Veilguard. That are like the magic mirrors that you walk into. But that's what you
shoot. It's on the tip of my tongue. That's going to bother me. Okay, great.
Sorry. But it's like a newer element that's introduced in that DLC, and then you like walk into it, and it's kind of like we don't know where we're going. Like she does, but the guy doesn't. And then it's like, you commit to, we're going to be this weird dark god family.
Nice.
And I was like, what a great ending. That's so cool.
Okay, well, great. I'm glad your character stepped up to be a dad.
I felt like he's not so much a dad as he is like a fan of hers who just gets to be there.
Fair.
Yeah, but I do wonder now that you say that if I'm just like fascinated by a woman who's like, fuck off. And I'm like, if I'm like Shinji Ikari and she's Asuka, is that what's happening?
Well, I guess we'll see. My next person is Estelle Bright from Trails in the Sky. She's the main character throughout that story. I just played the remake, right?
Yeah, so the girl in red on the cover.
The girl in red, Estelle Bright, yeah. And I just, on the surface, I think she's actually quite similar to Hilda. But she is, and even, she might even say things like, I just want to take a rest, can't we just stop and eat, blah, 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 blah. But she's not really lazy at all. She's studied hard. She's worked a lot to become a bracer, basically like a community cop, which is what you are in this game and why you're sort of traveling around helping people. She's done a lot of work on that. She's kind of a little uneducated on the world, but like that's not her fault. People have kind of kept her in the dark about things. And you can tell that a lot of the people around her, mostly her dad and the male main character of the game, whose name escapes me and I didn't look up because we're not talking about men, are just not telling her things. So like when you're traveling around, it becomes very clear that her dad is this big war hero who did a lot for the country. And so whenever somebody starts talking about her dad, they're always like worshipful of him. And she's just like, that guy? What are you talking about? He's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
I love how she talks down about her dad. And she's like, he wouldn't remember to make dinner if I didn't force it into his mouth. What are you talking about?
That's a great character. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he like saved the country.
Right. That's cool that she's not trying to live up to that legacy or anything. Well, she's just like,
they do become bracers because her dad is now a bracer and she's trying to live up to that legacy, I guess, that he's a really well-known bracer, but not in a bad way, she just is like, oh, he's a bracer, I want to be a bracer, let's do it. She has
a down-to-earth relationship with him.
Yes, and she really likes him, I guess is what it is. And
he's a person to her.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And I love her relationship with the main character. It's very clear that he's got other stuff going on even before you get to the end of the game, and that she is a source of levity in his life that keeps him grounded too. But she's not poorly written. She cares about other things also. And it's a very slow realization for her that she might have romantic feelings for the guy in the other main character in the game. I really should have looked up his name. And I actually really like that too, because she goes from like teasing him about girls at the beginning to being like, actually, maybe I don't want that to happen, And but it's really slow for her. And it's not slow for literally anybody else in the game. They look at him and be like, oh yeah, he's like obsessed with her. Yeah. It's funny. I just really liked playing the game as her, and I love a game that
play
has
as her and not him?
You do mostly play as her, yeah, because
Interesting.
I guess it's for the reason that she knows less of what's going on than he does.
Right.
So it's for that. But I do love that they've written this broken emo boy and then made the happy girl the main character.
I think his name is Joshua.
Joshua, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Interesting. That's why I was being quiet. I was like trying to find the name.
Joshua is very much, in fact, his backstory kind of has, well, he's very much the Cloud, Yeah.
This
game came out in like 2003, and I think they were very inspired by that type of character, but in a way that they were like, but let's put him in a happy, stable environment.
Yeah, that's interesting because it kind of sounds like what if Tifa was the main character of Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it sounds. Because she's kind of like, well, she's not a cop because, she's a literal terrorist, but I don't know. She has cop energy sometimes.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe just the way she bullies Cloud emotionally is what I'm thinking of.
Well, I think that's just an anime trope.
Yeah.
But
she needs it. Actually.
Yeah, exactly. All the emo boys of the early 2000s need their female bully.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's just fun, and it keeps this game very light. And then I don't know what's going to happen to her in the next game, and I know that the two of them are in a lot of the other games just as like cameos. So I'm interested to see where their characters go.
I've almost started that game so many times and like I can't do this. I can't because it's like I'm juggling too many games.
That's true. Yeah. Don't start another long JRPG.
Yeah, I don't want to because I'm going to confuse myself with mechanics. I can't do it. So but it does look so pretty and I've heard the story is good and I'm just like I'm very curious. So this is good.
It is, for me, it's really difficult not to start one of the other arcs. And I'm like, no, I'm going to wait for the remake of 2 and then play that so that at least I have the ending of that story. And because I know Trails in the Sky 3 has different main characters.
Right.
So after that, I might try some of the other games. But there's this one arc that takes place at a school and I think was very inspired by Three Houses. And I'm really interested to play that one.
That's interesting. There's a Final Fantasy that's like that too, that takes place in a school. It's really dark.
One of my favorites.
Well, no, besides that one. Besides, you got me. You're right. That's true.
I genuinely thought you were being facetious and talking about 8.
No. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't. It's not coming to me. It was a PSP game, but now you can play it everywhere. It's a really dark.
Oh, I know which one you mean. Yes.
It's like medieval, not like modern day the way that 8 is,
But they're still wearing like Japanese school uniforms, right?
Yeah. It's a boarding school, 100%. Yeah. And you have to it's really interesting, the gameplay and stuff.
I have played the first 10 minutes of it.
Yeah. It's different, but
Type 0.
Type 0, thank you.
Oh, that was bothering me. I had to look it up.
Lots of interesting characters there.
When I didn't remember that game existed at the beginning of this conversation, I was like, okay, so is it 1 or 2 or 3? I was just going to go through all the numbers. Like, what do you mean you don't remember?
Yeah, it's 0. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't really count. Well, I brought up Final Fantasy. I always talk about my last pick here. For women that I like, and then we can get to women that I hate, which really makes me a good feminist.
It does seem like a weird place to end this, but I am also interested to talk about the people. I'm into this. We got to talk about them.
Yeah. It's okay to get mad sometimes. So
I mean, I assume from what I can see on your list is that we don't like them because they're very written by and for men.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But this is a pick that, so I wanted to pick a Final Fantasy woman, lots of women to choose from, but I didn't want to choose anyone from 10, which was like, oh man, that's so hard because it's packed.
This is good though that we had to like limit ourselves. That just means that there's a lot of good women.
Right. And so I picked an oddball who I have a lot of affection for and who I think is actually like super interesting. So Sarah Farron from the Final Fantasy 13 series. Sarah is kind of the damsel in distress if you've only played the first game, the sister to Lightning, the fiance to Snow, and kind of like the inciting incident in how all of the characters get wrapped up in the fate that they are trapped in. So Sarah is like in the world of Final Fantasy 13, there are these things called fal'Cie that are these giant mecha spiritual god machine things. And if you get too close to it, it tags you with a tattoo that seals your fate. And you have like some kind of teleological purpose in the world. Like you have something that you need to do that the god wants you to do. And if you don't do it, you'll become a monster. And if you achieve whatever the fate is, then you become a crystal statue and quote unquote live forever. It seems bad no matter what happens to you to get close to these things. And so Sarah, when we meet her in the game, is a crystal statue. She's been cursed, but has somehow achieved her purpose by bringing together all of the characters so that they can get cursed. And that like fulfills her purpose, and she turns into a statue. And the rest of the game, they're trying to figure out what their purpose is, but for Lightning and Snow, they're trying to figure out how they can bring Sarah back, basically. And the answer is to like destroy God, because JRPG.
Right. I did not remember any of this.
Yeah.
I just remembered the ending of the game where other people are kind of turned into statues.
Exactly.
And so as soon as you said that statues thing, I was like, oh yeah, interesting.
So, yeah, but their purpose was to destroy the world, basically, is what you find out. And that was also Sarah's purpose, was to destroy the world. And so, like, that's what I love about her whole thing. For one thing, Sarah is named after the very first named Final Fantasy character, which is fascinating to me. So in Final Fantasy 1, Princess Sarah is captured from, her castle, which is where you start the game. And the first thing that you do is go save the princess.
Right.
And it's Princess Sarah. And that is like the kind of archetypal role that Sarah is playing here is kind of like the tropey damsel in distress kind of anti-feminist thing. And Sarah's character, especially in the first game, is very like damseled. She's very, I can't do anything myself. I need other people to protect me. I need my sister. I need my big, strong man. And that is kind of where her character begins her journey. But she has a lot of courage. Like when she was cursed, she didn't run from her fate. She, and become a monster. She faced her fate and tried to live up to it. And it is what you said. At the end of the game, a lot of the characters become statues where they kind of catch the world that's going to fall and kill all of humanity. All of humanity lives inside of this weird globe thing. And it's going to crash to the ground.
Right.
And they catch it as these column of statues and save the world that way. But Sarah is unfrozen at the end of that game. And then all of Final Fantasy 13-2 is her story. She's the main character. And all of the people in her life who are important to her are now statues. So she was the kind of person who was like, I'm no good on my own. I can't help myself. I can't save myself. I'm a damsel. And the journey of Final Fantasy 13-2 is coming to a place where she doesn't need other people, where she is a hero in and of herself. And even within the structure of that game, there's only one other human character in your party ever, who is Noel. He's the last human person in the world. That game is about time travel. And then the third party member is like a recruited monster, Pokemon style. Like you draw in a defeated monster and then tame it. And so she's constantly like supplementing her hero agency with these other characters, like structurally within the game, and moving through time, trying to find the answer to like, I'm not enough, I'm inadequate, I'm not enough. But by the end of that game, she tells Noelle, like, I understand my fate now. Like, my fate was to end the world, and we didn't get the job done, and now I'm ready. Like, I understand what I need to do. And what I love about the story of Final Fantasy 13, like this, like all three games when you put them together, is that it's this idea that like apocalypse needs to happen so that the world can be remade. Like there's this very bad version of the world, and Sarah's role in that is to sweep away structure again and again so that new structures can emerge. And so by the end of Final Fantasy 13-2, she has made it so that the entire universe is going to end, so that in the third game, the universe can be remade into something where fate does not govern reality, and like everything is not deterministic, in other words. And so like those games are like about determinism in a really big way, and Sarah's life is very deterministic because she is such a patriarchal trope. She is that damsel, and when she breaks out of it, she breaks the whole world, which is like very cool to me in terms of like feminist characters. Like, again, I don't know, I'm drawn to this kind of character. Like Ronnie the Witch is the same way, where she breaks the entire universe by breaking out of the damsel in distress.
Interesting. I really should play that game. I once played the first 10 minutes or so, and I found the time travel mechanics confusing, so I stopped.
It is confusing. It's
I
very...
just never went back.
It feels like the biggest overreaction to criticism I've ever seen in the Final Fantasy series, because everybody was like, Final Fantasy 13 is so boring because it's linear and you have no control and no choice. And they were like, here you go. Time doesn't matter. Place doesn't matter. You could go anywhere, do anything, anytime. And it's like, whoa, not like that. Like, that's too much. So I would play that with a guide, but I think it's worth it. Her journey is fascinating.
No, I should do it. I should. Well, I'd have to replay the first game because I remember nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, my last one is Aloy, which I think kind of speaks for itself, but I guess I'll say some things. Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn, obviously. And I think if you haven't played the game, you might think that she's this badass, like strong female character, quote unquote, and that's why she's riding around, taking down robot dinosaurs with a bow and arrow, and that's all she's got going on. That's why she's the main character. But if you play through the game, her actual story is that, well, I don't want to ruin anything, but it's not just that she's physically competent. Her whole story is that she is one of the most mentally competent people on the planet. One of the first things that happens in that game is you fall into an old ruin with very advanced technology, and she almost immediately figures out how to use it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that is kind of how her story goes. Whenever, like, a lot of the side quests you do start with somebody explaining a weird situation, and then she just rolls her eyes and says, why didn't you just do this? And it's just her surrounded by idiots being like, what are you all doing? Why is this the only option? It's not. And
she's very outsidery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I really like that about her, and how I like that they made her this really strong, badass character who is incredibly smart. I
like her relationship to technology, because usually technology will make someone less competent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it tends to do stuff for you, but her, I don't know, like, she becomes more powerful and more proficient because of technology, if that makes sense. Like,
Yes.
she's like a very, I don't want to say like cyborg feminism because it's not cool anymore, but she feels like a very cyborg feminist archetype to me.
There is a reason for that, I would say, in the game. Why the technology helps her versus hinders her.
And there's not, I don't just mean like the advanced like tech that she's wearing on her head, but, you know, down to like, I'm using a composite bow and arrow and these rope traps and things like that, you know, like
Right.
the state of the world and its relationship to technology is like fallen. And to a degree, isn't like technology kind of taboo, but she doesn't care about taboos.
Yes. Well, with her tribe. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean the whole world feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also turns out that what her tribe is worshiping is a computer. So,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's always how it is, right? Yeah. It's
I think you
it's
find that out pretty early on in the game. So that's not a.
I
not a
wasn't.
spoiler.
I do remember the way they were talking about. I was like, oh, that's a computer, you guys.
But I think pretty early on in the game, you go like into the cave and meet the computer, as it were.
I think there is like this archetype of feminist empowerment, this kind of like storytelling structure that we've managed to construct from like, I'd say from like the 1970s, like second wave feminism on into now. And she's like a really good version of that is like this. And I think it conforms to the same characters that I brought up of this outsider who her relationship to taboo is very comfortable and who actually like attacks the structure of the society that she's in, but not in a destructive way, but in a constructive way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And she's a better person than me too, because I would have let her tribe just die. Those assholes, right? Like
They're
they
so
treated
mean
her
to
so
her.
badly,
Yeah.
and she still comes and saves them all. Like I would have let them all die. So she's also a good person. And even like in the same room, all or in the same vein, all the people that she thinks are idiots, she still like does their quests, you know, helps them out.
Mm-hmm. It's very heroic.
Yeah. She just does it while rolling her eyes.
Yeah.
Which is great. Feels good.
And so if you're done, we can move on to complaining about things.
Let's do it. I can talk about this for an hour.
So I did want to complain about some female characters who infuriate me. The first one I always think of is Cindy Oram from Final Fantasy 15, your car mechanic, who is a good mechanic. I like a good female mechanic. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy that. I don't enjoy the fan servicey cheesecake design of her. And and the way that she's deployed in the game, I find infuriating.
So I chose a different girl from this game.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with Cindy, is that there are no good girls, well-written women in this game. There's just eye candy and, oh yeah. So the one I chose was Luna, who is presented to you as very important to the main character, very important to the main story, doesn't do much, then dies.
It's so frustrating. Maybe the most powerful person in the world, and maybe one of the most powerful women in all of Final Fantasy, like when you see those summoned monsters.
Yeah, and then she just has to die for the main character, for the guy.
Taken out.
And you never actually get to see them talk to each other?
Yeah.
Except,
Crazy.
I guess, in flashbacks to when they were kids. So you're just told that they loved each other?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her behavior says she loved him.
Yeah, but the boys' trip is more important.
It's really crazy. It's really crazy.
and again, then, I enjoy the boys' trip of that game.
Yeah.
But dear God, the women get the short stick.
because the whole thing is like a delaying tactic, kind of, to like, I'm gonna have to marry this woman, so the whole point is to not go to her while she's like, hey man, like the world is gonna end, like the clock is ticking, and you're fishing and hanging out with Cindy, souping up your car, you know what I mean? So like, it sucks. It really sucks.
I mean, to be fair, that's just video game-ness, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many times in a video game where it's like, get here by this time, but it's a video game, so you can take 5 weeks. It doesn't really matter. So I don't mind the time thing. I just, that she dies before you get to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so stupid. And Cindy never has anything going on. And the other girl, you know, the black-haired Luna's white hair, or I guess she's blonde, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, she's like the bad girl. Yeah.
Well, yeah. You know, she shows up and she's like, actually, I'm just a summon. And it's like, oh my God. So you also don't have any character. Gotcha.
Yeah, they really don't have anything else going on. I guess that's kind of what I mean in relation to her character and the time thing, is like, the end of the world is coming and she just shows no frustration. She's like, of course, go fish with the boys. I love you. It's like, come on. Nobody would feel this way. No person would feel like that. Cindy just waits for the one car in the world to come around so she can work on it. Like, what is she doing? Build your own car, Cindy. Like, go.
I'm fairly certain we do drive by other cars.
Yeah, that's true.
They're just not as nice as ours because we're a prince.
Yeah. Cindy could like build an Iron Man suit. Like, she could be doing so much better than working on the prince's car. Like, Magitech armor from Final Fantasy VI.
I don't remember, like, why is the world ending? Whatever, it doesn't matter.
The explanation is not satisfying. I know the answer to the question. It's not worth talking about.
Okay, cool. I just have one more. And you apparently also just have one more.
Yeah, there's lots of women in the Street Fighter series who I almost brought into the discussion, you know, of like cool characters, but there's just so little, you know, to the story of fighting games that they just didn't have what it took compared to the characters that I did bring up. But since that's the case, they are also like very easily fall into the traps of bad female representation. And so Jury is this character. If you look up like what this character looks like, she is like the tropey, I'm a crazy hot girl kind of character in like really bad ways. Just like just like not goth girl, but like crazy girl in damaging, not good ways. I don't know how else to say what I'm trying to say. Infuriating, honestly. I like the way that Jury plays in the game because her movement style is very unpredictable because she's so weird, but her weirdness is specifically couched in her femininity. So she is just like, because she is a not hot woman in like a traditional way, and she's like unapproachable and sexually aggressive, that makes her like inherently evil. And so like that is from where all of her weirdness comes, and it's just like a very toxic idea that sucks.
My last one is Yennefer from the Witcher games. This is not about Yennefer from the TV show. I haven't read the books, so I don't know what she's like in the books. But a lot of my complaints about her in the game are not there in the TV show. Because in the show, you get to see some story from her perspective. You get to, I've only watched season 1. So, or maybe I watched season 2. I don't even remember. Anyways, so, you know, you get to see things from her perspective. You get to see what her wishes and desires and, you know, what she wants out of life are, and get to see the decisions that she's made for herself and how that turned out for her and that sort of thing. Like, do I think it's stupid that she suddenly changed her mind and wants to be a mom? Yes, that is very dumb. But at least you kind of see the through line on all that.
Mm-hmm.
In the games, because she's like missing in the second game, she's not there. I haven't played the first game.
Or the first game. Yeah.
Yeah, I assume she's not there also. When she shows up in the third game, she's just there telling Geralt what to do. And it's like, you haven't been around. You don't know what's going on, except that she does just know what's going on. And she does just know more, and she's just here to be kind of mean to Geralt. And it just feels like she's there to be a fantasy, that, like I said with Morgan, that she's just there to be mean, and men like that.
Bossy girlfriend. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes, bossy girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And she's just... I hate her.
Do you feel like she thwarts his relationships with all the other characters? That's what she does in the books. Like, he has all of these relationships, like he's friends with this person, that person, and then whenever Yennefer shows up, it's like a very toxic relationship. He's just like, fuck all of you. Like, the queen is here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not quite that. It's not quite that. The only, like, relationship she fucks up is with Triss, which makes sense, right? Like, you have to choose one of them, and then whichever one you don't choose isn't happy with you. I think it's so weird that he's with Triss in the games. But that's because I come at it from reading the material, and so, like, that's just not a thing.
But one thing that you can do in the game, and this makes sense whether or not you're romancing her, I think, is find the original genie that, entwined your fates.
Yeah.
And get that, end that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And then afterwards, you can either have Geralt say, no, I still love you, or no, that's gone. And I fucking love saying, nope, that's gone.
Yeah, she really resents that whole situation, I guess, which makes sense.
Yeah.
In the story, I've always taken it as a metaphor for, like, what love actually is. Like, when you fall in love with somebody, like, for real, it does feel like something took your choices away. And it is like, there's an excruciating element to love that's like, this person can really hurt me, and there's nothing that I can do about it because of the way that I feel about them. I think is, like, very beautifully captured by that whole genie situation, like the wish situation.
Yeah.
It's like a great metaphor for that. I know that's not what you're talking about, but I think she goes on, like, a weird journey with that whole thing where she resists it to the point where she exhausts all other possibilities, and she's like, this isn't that bad, actually. Like, being in love with this guy, there are worse things in the world, I guess, than Geralt of Rivia.
That's in the books, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I get it. It's weird because those games are supposed to be set after the books, and so I just never understood why she's gone. Like, she's just gone, and the reason is so you can fuck other women. Like, that is the real reason. Because they just want that to happen, and so to have her come back is weird. I've never played that game, so I can't speak to that.
But, like, in Witcher 3, like, neither of them, Triss or Yennefer, they don't care if you fuck other women. They only care if you fuck one of them.
That one, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, they could have written it that way from the beginning, with Yennefer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the game does a lot better with Triss, at least in Witcher 3, because she does have her own thing going on. And you can show up and help her do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can really mess that up and lock yourself out of the Triss romance. Maybe even Triss dies if you do that. Shit, no, that can't be it. I think other people die. Whatever.
So you feel like Yennefer's story revolves around Geralt in a way that makes her superficial?
I don't think she has a story.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. She just shows up, says she knows things that Geralt doesn't, and then tells you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's just there to give you information.
A really weird use of that character.
Yeah. But I know a lot of people really like her in that game, so I don't know. Maybe maybe I've forgotten things. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good things in this game, and like, yeah, Ciri is running around in ripped up, stupid clothes and heels.
Mm-hmm.
But I still really like her, so I don't know.
Ciri's such a great character.
There's a way to make them hot and sexy and still interesting, and they didn't get there with Yennefer. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's too bad. Yennefer can be an interesting character. That's too bad.
If you want to tell us about your favorite women in games, either behind the scenes or as characters, you can do so at Blue Sky. On Blue Sky. Oh, God. I hate the English language, but it's the only one I know. On Blue Sky at Inferior Gaming. And you can follow me on Blue Sky at Inferior Caitlin.
And you can leave your vote for which one of us is a better feminist at inferiorgamingpod@gmail.com. Just put in the subject line Alan. And then if you don't want to send it to that email for whatever reason, you can also send it to hallowedgroundmedia.com email.
And remember, Caitlin's the better feminist.